I mean, I asked for a 40K raise because I had the audacity. What in the delusional audacity is choosing less to take bigger risks? Okay, now I know that sounds backwards, like some weird millennial paradox or something, but hear me out. So, in this video, I'm going to be unpacking why choosing less gives you the clarity to take the riskiest moves that actually matter. So, if you have ever felt stuck between fear and moving forward, this one's for you. So, in my Substack post with the Delusional Audacity, I talk about how we just misunderstand delusion. I think when most of us hear delusion, we think reckless, crazy, chaotic. Let's get one thing straight. Delusion does not have to be chaos. But the audacity that I am talking about isn't just a blind leap, it is a clarified vision without evidence yet. And so that basically just means you're early. Everyone hasn't caught up to what you already see yet. And that's where the courage lies. You already see the vision that you have for your life. You see the vision that you have for your business. You see the relationship that you're looking for. You see it, right? Internally, you feel it and you can see it with your eyes closed. And again, that is a clarified vision without having evidence yet. Baby, it ain't just a manifest yet in this world, but it's going to. And so for me, it's been choosing less. That's looked like fewer commitments, fewer priorities, fewer noise sources. And that's really helped me be able to hear and discern the pull for the right type of risks I should be taking in the season. So I can't be everywhere. It actually allowed me to have my no be stronger, right? I have had to set up better boundaries for myself. I can't take every client that I want to take. I can't work on every project. I can't be at every function. But again, there were so many major life changes that have been happening that I had to actually slow down so I can emotionally just sift through everything and prioritize what's really important. So I plan to only get married once unless I'm renewing my vows. And so that is a special sacred season. I wanted to be very present for it and being there with the ups and the downs for it as I'm still navigating a season of grief and giving myself the space to feel those feels and have that come up and not be so busy that I'm like nulling and dulling myself from it. And then also just transitions of moving. Everything all at the same time required me to get really clear on what mattered and why. And again, sharpen my no so I could hear in the things I'm saying that are priority for me, where I could take risks at. And so for you, maybe that looks like you can't be on every single digital media platform or social media platform that's out here, right? Maybe you can't take every business opportunity that comes to you in the season because you are starting a new relationship or you are having to be more present for aging parents or whatever that is. Though, it's just thinking about what matters and why it matters and getting really clear on how to narrow the focus down. So again, you can take forward movement that matters in those areas. And then the other thing I say is that when you strip away all the clutter and all the noise, your nervous system begins to actually settle down. You can hear yourself. You can actually understand and discern when God is speaking to you, or whether you call it your inner wisdom, pull you, what direction it's trying to pull you in. So when you decide to just, again, slow it down, strip away the things that don't matter, get rid of the clutter, get rid of the noise, get rid of all the distractions, get rid of all those extra commitments and those things, that baggage that's hanging down and muddying the waters. When you get rid of that, that's when you can actually begin to feel and hear and discern your intuition or God speaking to you. So you begin to know what risks you can move forward in because they might not be as risky as they seem. So aligned audacity is bold. It is not chaotic. You might feel nervous. You probably will feel nervous because we're humans, but it will absolutely feel true to you. And that's how you know you're in the right path. Okay, growth does not always look like more. No, seriously. So when I was in the thick last year of wedding planning and managing a move and just transitioning and building your life with someone, I felt like I was being pulled in a million different directions. And the thing that really worked for me was getting very clear on what was important. And so for me, it was making sure that me and my husband transition well, making sure that I'm still building my business. And so inside of that, There were so many things I had to say no to. There were so many fun friend trips that my friends were going on that I was like, can't do that. There was even business opportunities that I knew because I was planning this wedding is I don't have the time or the capacity or the energy to dedicate to what might be a really awesome project, but I know I'm not in a space for that right now. And so it's really about getting clear on what your priorities are during that time. And what actually matters isn't more, it's crystal clear priorities. I like to think about what is nurturing me, what is making me money, what is bringing me joy, and then also what are those things and people that I'm choosing to pour into as well. And so I write each section of my life out and I'll set a goal or an intention for that area. So again, I'm not trying to do all the things. I'm doing specific, intentional things that'll help me grow roots in that area instead of casting my net so wide and feeling like really drained and not having energy or a clear focus for what, again, I'm saying that I want to grow in. A good example of that for me was friends or relationships. We have tons of people that might be friendly. I don't know. Some of y'all might not have friends. No, not friends, but they could be associates or just mentors or people that you want to keep in contact with. But if you don't make an intentional effort, it doesn't happen. And so what I start doing is I'll name for the quarter, I'll put 3 people that I'm intentionally going to connect with throughout that quarter. And I'm going to text them or call them once a week, or I'm going to set up a specific coffee date or something. And again, that's really helped me narrow the focus in. So now I don't feel like overwhelmed trying to be there for everybody. I got 3 people that I'm choosing to focus on, and that's what's going to happen. But what that allows me to do is to deepen those relationships and those connections instead of, again, being spread too thin. And I realized that when I stopped trying to fill up every space and nook and cranny on my schedule, every moment of time in my inner world, when I stopped trying to do that, something weird happened, you guys. I could feel my courage growing. My discernment began to sharpen and just my forward movement began to become clearer. And I think that's what really made room for me to take big, aligned, risky, aligned decisions, having that capacity. So yes to aligned, risky decisions, big, audacious, delusional decisions. No to the random ones that do not track back to what you are trying to accomplish. And I like to think about it like this. Again, you don't need to be on all the platforms. Every strategic new marketing plan that might come out there, you might not need. Not even you might not, you absolutely do not need to do that. The pressure from the outside world about what's new and what's trending, you don't need to worry about any of that when you come into alignment on what is important for you and what is priority. Trends come and go, but your life is not a trend. And I know sometimes it could be really scary. The idea of slowing down makes people really nervous. So if we say that what's really important for us in this season is to spend more time with family, or you have a new child and you're like, I want to be there for those first moments. Or maybe what's really important for you is growing the business, 10xing it or whatever. That takes some slowing down. When you say yes to something, you're also saying no to a lot of other things. Not random decisions, not random risks, but those big risks that feel aligned is where we want to go. So if you're watching this, bestie, and you were like, oh my gosh, I feel stuck and I don't really know how to move forward, I'm just going to tell you this right now. It is not because of a lack of drive. Most of the time, something you're doing is not aligned and you have a lot of extra noise and clutter in your brain, in your physical space, in your inner space that is clouding you from hearing and being able to discern what you need to do to move forward. Chatting away. Time for a little coffee break. And if you want a fun way to see where your energy is leaking or landing, I created a fun quiz, less chaos, more clarity, and it will help you spot energy blockers, understand what season you're in of growth, and really it's just going to help you move forward. I'll link it below. Now let's tell the difference between audacity with clarity and audacity that's just on fire. It's a dumpster storm. I asked for a 40K raise because I had the audacity. Blind risk is when you feel very nervous. Honestly, You probably feel terrified, but there's still this calm because you have a sense of inner knowing that this, although it terrifies you, although you are nervous, although your knees are shaking and you feel like you can't even stand up, this is the right move for you. It does not feel chaotic and it doesn't feel panicked. It doesn't feel rushed either. And also there's this sense of nervousness and slight freak out because your nervous system also knows that this matters. And you know it's a chaotic risk because it's usually filled with anxiety and a little bit of ego disguised as ambition. And so aligned risk may look like starting the business that you actually care about, a TikTok that you really care about and want to share information on. It could be writing the book. It might be taking a step further. You already have the book written, submitting it to a publisher, an editor. It could also look like applying for the job that you feel like you're not qualified for, but in your soul, you could do that job. Another aligned risk could be asking for a raise because you feel like you deserve it. Aligned risk could be sending the email, pitching the pitch, writing your colleague, even just showing your work online, something that just might make you feel nervous in that way, but you know it's impactful. You know it's important. Deep in your spirit, in your soul, you feel that this is something that is aligned and in your path. That is the nervousness that we should be excited about. Even aligned risk could be saying yes to the date, asking somebody on the date, asking someone to marry you. Not me out here trying to play matchmaker. In my life, when I decided to choose less, it just actually created more space for me to choose the risks that actually fit me and not the ones that culture said I should take, the ones that actually fit me. In one of my past lives, I used to own a coffee shop and a yoga shop in Brooklyn. When I decided to open up that coffee shop, I had absolutely zero experience in food and beverage outside of being a bartender in college, but I didn't know how to run a restaurant. I didn't know how to run anything dealing with food, let alone a coffee shop. But I just had this inner knowing. I was very clear on how I saw the connection of creating community around movement and those rituals like getting your morning coffee and having that grounding space. And I went to bridge those things together. So I was clear on the vision. Making it work was my delusion, like delusional ambition. I just said, I think I can do it. I know I can do it. I'm going to go forth and do it. And she did do it. Again, there's a lot of things that took place in between that, but that's where we want to get to. I just know. Things like that aren't easy. So what helps you determine what the difference is? Aligned risk will help you build resilience, right? So you may be tired, you may be exhausted at times. There's a natural fatigue that happens when you're working towards something. And building the life that you want that is different from what you currently see, the life that you envision, it's not easy. So what's going to help you determine what's aligned versus like chaotic is aligned risk builds resilience. And when I say it builds resilience, you may still feel fatigued because again, it's not easy. You're creating new patterns. You're saying no to things. You're narrowing your focus. You're going deeper. That will create fatigue. That will create a sense of, I feel like I've worked hard, but a chaotic risk is when you feel exhausted. You feel completely depleted. Energetically, you have no energy. Spiritually, you feel depleted. Your soul just needs a rest. That's when you get into the area of chaotic, delusional audacity. Important. Clarity does not remove the risk, but what it will do is it'll focus it for you. Your priorities are clear. Your energy is no longer fragmented. You're not pulled in 17 different directions. And just think about it. When you have a clear objective, all your energy, time, efforts, resources can go towards achieving that one or those top priorities that you set for yourself, as opposed to all these sub priorities, right? Which are honestly just energy drains. If this is the main thing, make it the main thing. But then you can't want to give a little bit here. I actually gave 30% of my energy to what I say is the main thing that I want to work towards or feel or achieve or manifest. And then the rest of, I don't know, can't do math real quick. What's 30? Is that 80, 90, 110? Ooh, 70. And then the 70% of your energy went to all other 17 tasks that you had on your list. You want to be so crystal clear and focused that you are able to see where your energy is going and get rid of all those things that might be energy drains. Because that is not growth. That is what we call friction. And when you have clarity, it actually creates capacity now for you to create and do in a way that makes sense for you what you want. So let's think about it. Maybe I'll put it up here like a simple chart. Capacity equals consistency. Consistent action equals momentum. And momentum equals intentional growth. That's what we're aiming for, intentional growth. And this is a principle that you can take and apply to your life, to your business, to your relationships, whatever. It's not about the flash and it's not about the noise. It's about slow, steady, sustainable, consistent. Unless you're here for just a one-hit wonder, 15 minutes of fame, hit it and split it, then you should have already clicked off of this video anyway. So my point here is really, if you want courage that sticks, start with clarity. But let's get practical. What does this really look like? It might look like saying no to noise. And noise could be a lot of different things. What is the noise in your life? You're saying that you desire more peace and calm and less anxiety in this crazy, crazy world that we're living in these times. But you are tuned into every single news source. You get the notifications on your phone. You get the emails. Every time you go on social, your whole timeline is flooded with what's happening up to the moment. You can't say you want peace and you can't say you want this calm, but there's so much noise that's creating anxiety in your life. So maybe it looks like choosing one source of truth, right? Or picking one particular time of day that you will go on social or that you will look at the news instead of being bombarded or allowing it to bombard you all day. Saying no to noise could also look like you said you want to save money. And now every time you get an invitation to go out to a dinner or to go get drinks or to go get coffee, you're like, I got to be there. I got to do this. I got to be here. And it's like, that's noise. It's all a distraction because it's pulling you from what the main thing was, which was you saving money. So prioritizing what actually feels like home, creating a sense of home in my body, creating a sense of home in physical spaces is really important to me to just feel grounded and connected and feel like me. And so even in transitional seasons and temporary spaces, finding elements or ways or rituals that give me that sense of home is really big. We're in our new home and we've been in here for a year, but during that season, we were moving into a new place and we were planning for a wedding. Those are really expensive things. What was really important for me was to feel like home in this new space and create ways and systems and decorate and have it feel like a space that me and my husband could create this new life in. So for us, it was like, well, we know we're going to be spending our money this year on creating a home that feels like us and this wedding that is going to be a sacred memory for us. You want to choose rhythms that fit your body, your relationships that you're in, that most importantly fit your nervous system. When I closed down my businesses in New York and moved to Atlanta, that wasn't something that was comfortable at all, but it was an aligned risk and decision. Even choosing to start my consulting again as opposed to going back into working a 9-to-5, knowing, betting on myself that I know the skills that I have. And none of those decisions were comfortable. Some of those smaller risks allowed me to take bigger risks, which then allowed me to take more aligned risks. And aligned risks gave me the capacity to do things like this, begin to show up on social, begin to start sharing these things, begin to start growing my business in a way that was meaningful, taking on projects that I felt like were more meaningful, taking on client work that I'm excited about, and that doesn't evaporate my time or energy or leave me feeling exhausted or even pull away from the life that I'm building with my partner. Audacity does not need to be loud and big all the time. It just needs to be true to you. So as you know, I am a newlywed and I believe in doing all things intentional. So if you are also navigating intentional living or relationships that you feel like need a gentle reset, I created a free resource. It's called my Aligned Love Check-In. I'll make sure to put the link below so you can tap that and use it if it feels supportive. So here's my truth. Delusional audacity is not reckless. It is clarity with courage. Choosing less does not close doors. It opens and creates space for the right ones. Once you let clarity lead, baby, it starts making space for the bigger ones, the ones you think are scary, but they won't be scary no more. And baby, once you start letting clarity lead, those big, scary, audacious risks stop feeling scary. And they actually start feeling very possible for you. And if you don't walk away with anything else from this video, it is possible, it is possible, it is possible, it is possible. It is possible because you deserve to take the big, audacious, scary, delusional risks that your heart is drumming up because you are worthy. If this video helped you sit with your own, and friend, if this video helped you sit with, give language to, make sense of, even inspire your own audacity, clarity, and courage, please subscribe somewhere and share it with a friend. And I will see you next time for more conversations that are calming and inspiring us to allow us to live the life that we desire with less chaos and more clarity.